Gel in Agriculture, brought to you with the compliments of the Ministry of Agriculture, Food, Fisheries and Water Resource Management and the Barbados Agricultural Society.
Grow well, eat well, live well, right here in Bim.
Hi, I'm Joel Ford and welcome to Gel in Agriculture. This week I'm at the Dining Club in Newton Industrial Park, where the Ministry of Agriculture, Food, Fisheries and Water Resource Management is putting on two workshops looking at cassava and sweet potato for bartenders and for chefs, as well as a workshop in lionfish. We'll get to the lionfish later. But let's start by looking at the workshops with using sweet potato and cassava for bartenders, as well as using it for pastry chefs. The Ministry of Agriculture recently held a two-day workshop to encourage innovation in the use of sweet potato and cassava, as well as the safe preparation of lionfish. Held in collaboration with the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, participants included savory and pastry chefs and bartenders. The training sessions coincided with the second Agribusiness Forum held in Barbados in conjunction with the UWI, under the theme Strengthening the Agri-Food Sector and Expanding Market. After a presentation on the agronomic aspects of sweet potatoes and cassava, it was instruction time. Award-winning bar chef Jamal Bowen explained how bartenders can use starchy root crops like sweet potato and cassava to create destination cocktails that will pique the curiosity and taste buds of locals and visitors alike. For instance, did you know that there's an entrepreneur producing a line of liqueurs and cordials made from those same root crops, as well as local fruits and herbs called kaiso? The product line is pitched at a price point that makes it economical to produce cocktails, so get your pen and paper ready so that you can learn how to make a cassava sour.
So using a lime squeezer, you're going to use half a lime. You might use a little bit more based on the flavor. Right, so the juice of half a lime straight into my mixing glass. Take that out just in case we need to use something else. Right, we're going to start with about a ½ ounce of regular simple syrup, because I have another type of simple syrup here with me as well. And we're just using that just to counteract the acidity from the lime juice. But the liqueur is sweet, although you will actually get some other flavors coming from it as well. We're going to start with about 1.5 ounces of the liqueur. Now this drink is going to be very light in terms of the alcohol, because the liqueur isn't as strong as rum or anything else, but you're going to get the flavor. Any other flavor that you're getting besides lime will be cassava. Right? So this is our drink. I'll actually get somebody to come up and make the exact same drink to make samples for everybody else. If anybody else wants to come up and make a sample for everybody else. Right, so just going to about 3/4 fill mixing glass of ice. That goes in here. Right. Waste not, want not. So we get all that in there. Every single last drop of it. Alright, so I have some presentation glasses, but obviously when we send these out for samples, we're going to put them in plastic cups. No, everyone will not be able to get a full glass. I know people have to drive. Alright, but it's not too sweet. It's a little sweet for me, but that's because my palate is a lot drier than most people's palates. But we'll leave it because, you know, Bajans have a sweet tooth. But you will get some other flavors happening in here. So actually, if anyone wants to come up and try it, well, not try this one. This one is just for presentation. But if anyone wants to come up and try making one, I'll let them do a little less syrup and then pass it around. So even if two of the bartenders want to come up and take a try, or I'll just make a couple of them and send them out. So always, as I tell people all the time, always know your glassware. Always leave lip space. That's a perfect drink. You can serve this now with because it's very flavorful. But what I like to do as well in terms of my garnishing is that I like to give experiences with garnishes as well. So a lime wheel just on top, floating, and you see some spices lined off here at the bottom of the bottle, next to the cassava and the coconut. So you got things like star anise, clove, cinnamon, nutmeg. So you imagine putting a nice lime wheel on top of that and having a single piece of star anise floating on it, and having that aroma passing through with the lime and the star anise on top of the drink while you're passing it out in the restaurant. And every time the person takes a sip, because it's floating on top, they get that aroma going to their nose every single time.
Roll well, eat well, live well, right here in Bend. Roll well, eat well, live well, right here in Bend.
And with me is Mr. Anthony Maynard. He's the senior agronomist here at the Ministry of Agriculture, where we're talking about the different varieties of sweet potato and why the ministry is pushing not only the production but the consumption of sweet potato. Hi, Mr. Maynard.
Good morning, Jura.
Tell me something. How many varieties of sweet potato are there?
Well, we started with over 200 varieties,
Mm-hmm.
and we've done a number of trials through the island in different geographical areas, and in order to select varieties that best suited to the various conditions. And now we are down to about 25 varieties,
Mm-hmm.
and we're still working on them.
What are the particular varieties that the ministry is pushing?
Well, as a result of the trials that were conducted over the island, we've come up with about 4 varieties which
Mhm.
are well suited to our local conditions. They are high yielding, they are early maturing, and they are well accepted by the consumers. If you look here on the table,
Mhm.
you will see an order, one called G,
Okay, and this is how you know it. It's a long, slim
Right.
potato. Yeah.
long slim potato, white flesh.
Okay.
It's very popular.
Mhm.
Wherever you go in Barbados, in the government markets, Fairchild Street, uh, um,
Yeah, the
government
farm
market,
and supermarkets and stuff. You see
will
this
see
one.
variety G.
Okay.
Red skin, white flesh, very tasty.
Mhm.
This
one
other
now.
one is CBS 49. As you can see, a kind of yellow skin,
Mhm.
orange flesh. The orange flesh is due to the presence of what we call beta carotene. Some people call it carrot potato. So when you are eating one of these varieties, of course, you are having a carrot and a potato. You're having 2 in 1. So it's very, very nutritious.
Do they normally come like this size, a small potato?
Yeah, you can get it this size
Yeah.
or a little bigger,
Okay.
like this one.
Mhm.
The other one here now is called CBS 32.
Okay.
A beta carotene as well, right? And this is very, very popular also.
Mhm.
And there's another one called Denver. So these are the most popular varieties and high yielding varieties that you will find in Barbados. They're tolerant to scarabee, they're high yielding, and they're drought tolerant. So these are varieties that the ministry is pushing.
Why is
Especially
it? Go ahead.
the beta carotene varieties,
Mhm.
because the beta carotene signifies that they are high in antioxidants, and the antioxidant is very important in that they hinder or fight against carcinogenic free radicals, so they're anti-cancer.
Why is the ministry pushing not just the production of so much sweet potato, but the consumption of it?
Well, potato, you know, is a crop rich in starches,
Mhm.
high in energy. The starch is converted into sugar.
Mhm.
And potatoes, unlike sweet potato, which is Ipomea batatas, I mentioned the botanical name because in some parts of the world, like United States of America, when you say potato, people interpret you to mean yam.
Okay.
But it's Ipomea batatas, sweet potato.
Mhm.
The difference is that potato has what you call a lower glycemic index, meaning that it releases starch over in a short period, over a long period of time, in small amounts, unlike English potato. And don't forget, we are a nation of diabetes.
Okay.
So diabetics should be going for not English potato, sweet potato, because of the low glycemic index, like cassava as well.
Okay.
So ground provisions have, in general, low glycemic index.
Now, I know the ministry, through its marketing arm, the BADMC, is pushing a sweet potato flour. So these different varieties of sweet potato, is there one that's better for maybe just putting it in the oven and baking it, one that's better for making flour? Are the varieties suitable for different agri products?
The varieties that we are pushing are multi-purpose.
Mhm.
Okay, this is the one that we normally make flour with.
Okay.
Okay, and there's another one called Ja as well,
Mhm.
and then there's one called T67. But this, because her yielding is a multi-purpose one, this G variety. If you're thinking about making ice creams and making potato salad and so on, this CBS 32, this CBS 49, and CBS 32 because of the color. right?
Okay.
You don't have to add much color, and it's very tasty. You can make ice cream, you can make a lot of things with this CBS32. All of them have lower glycemic index.
We're seeing the rise of that yellow sweet potato. There was a time when the only one you could get on the market was the one with the white flesh that looks like this, the G.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing a lot of the yellow sweet potato.
Yeah.
So how can the consumer know which one is which, especially when you have the red potato with the white flesh and then the red potato that has the yellow flesh?
All you have to do, Joel, when you go into the supermarket or ask the person who's selling the potato to indicate to you what color the flesh is. And if you don't, you can probably take a small one and just take a little tip out of it. And you see the color of it. You see? You see this is orange. This is twice as good as the one with the white flesh.
Uh-huh.
You see? This is how you know. But I advise you to take a little piece from the tip. I ask the person who's selling you to indicate to you what color, you know, the potato is on the inside.
In terms of storage, how long can you keep a sweet potato? Like, let's say I bought a big set and I want to keep them on a counter or in a bag or something. How long can I keep the sweet potato?
It's best to store them in the open. And they store for a very long time. If you wash them thoroughly, they're not going to store well. Because in washing them, or what you call scrubbing, you remove a lot of the protective layer on the outside. So then they dry out and they're predisposed to attack from pathogenic microorganisms, mainly bacteria and fungi and so on. So it's best not to remove the mud, or we call it dirt.
And don't store them in the fridge?
The dirt offers protection.
Okay, and don't store them in the fridge?
Of course you can store them in the fridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mr. Maynard. That has been very informative.
Thank you very much.
That's Mr. Anthony Maynard. They're the senior agronomist here at the Ministry of Agriculture, telling us all about the different properties and varieties of sweet potato. And don't forget that for all your fresh fruit and vegetables, visit a local farmer's market like Art Splash in Hastings, open on Wednesdays and Saturdays from 9 a.m.
Grow well, eat well, live well, right here in Bend.
The Ministry of Agriculture is encouraging more manufacturers to do innovative things with cassava and sweet potato. And one of those companies is Purity Bakeries. They've recently introduced a cassava bread. And with me is Roberta Phillips. She's the Quality Assurance Officer. Good morning, Roberta.
Hi, good morning.
Tell me how this production of this bread came about.
Well, we were approached by the FAO and the BADMC, where the FAO wanted to incorporate more locally grown produce into the diets of Barbadians, and from that we came up with a blended cassava bread, where we do a whole wheat cassava bread and a white cassava bread using fresh grated cassava.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're not using the cassava flour?
No, it's better to use the mash for this process.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the process and how it is different from just using wheat flour.
Well, we do a percentage. We support a percentage of the flour for the cassava mash. And basically from there the process is the same as doing regular bread, and it doesn't taste any different. If we don't tell persons that it contains cassava, you would never know the difference.
Cassava tends to be a little dry, so how do you compensate for those two things?
Well, right now, because we're using the mash, obviously it comes with a percentage of water in it already. So we just adjust the water to suit the level of water that is actually in the mash. So the bread is very moist, it's not dry, it does not dry over a period of time. So the quality is about the same as the regular bread that we normally produce.
Can you source the amount of cassava that you need to produce the bread on a regular basis?
Well, at the present moment, yes, we can, based on the numbers that we're producing. But obviously, if we start to produce island-wide, because right now the bread is only available at the Purity shop, we would have to up the increase, and the BADMC assured us that they can supply the demand.
What's been the response like from customers?
The response from the public right now is great. We can't make enough of the bread. Currently, we produce the bread twice weekly, and persons come to the shop on those days to get this bread. And if there's any reason we had a breakdown and we couldn't manufacture the bread, you know, they're quarreling, wanting to know when is the next time they can come and get the bread. And right now, we have no returns of the product, so it's doing really great.
You are so far only doing a sandwich loaf with the cassava. Are there any plans to expand your product line?
Commercially, right now, yes, we are only doing the sandwich line. But we have done hamburger buns for some entities who were doing some special projects, and they have been received well. So hopefully in the future, you know, we could expand it and we can go into a lot more products.
The price point, is it at the same as a regular sandwich loaf?
It's a little higher. Currently, the white cassava loaf sells for $3.90. It's a junior brand, a junior size, and the brown one is at $4. Obviously, because the price of cassava is much more than the price of flour, we still have to incorporate some of that cost into it. But right now, they're still fairly affordable.
Well, the proof of that, they say, of the pudding is in the eating, and here we have one
a loaf
here.
You can try a slice. Give your comment.
Start with A. It feels really nice and soft. This is nice. As you said, you really don't know that it has any cassava.
Yeah.
There's nothing about the taste or the flavor that makes you think that it has anything different to a regular sandwich loaf. But it is lovely, really nice and soft. Really nice and soft. Well, thank you very much, Roberta. That's Roberta Phillips. She's the Quality Assurance Officer here at Purity with the cassava brand junior brand sandwich. And it also comes in white bread, if that's your personal favorite. I can imagine this with toast and some butter and jam and a cup of coffee. Thank you so much for watching Gel in Agriculture. I'm Jewel. Join us again next Friday, 6:30, same time, for another episode. See you later.
Grow well, eat well, live well, right here in Bend.
Gel in Agriculture, brought to you with the compliments of the Ministry of Agriculture, Food, Fisheries and Water Resource Management and the Barbados Agricultural Society.